above your head, we do have the DraftKings Sportsbook logo. Shout out to DraftKings. You know they rocking with us. And this show is presented to you by them. Only the top-rated sportsbooking app in all of North America. Safe, secure, and of course, they are reliable, man. And we obviously know, man, as we are talking about the holiday season, man, hey, it's a lot of action going on, especially in the NFL. But just in general in sports, right? So with that, man, we know that, hey, you might want to get involved. You might want to add, a little bit more stakes to the situation. Well, best way to do that is by rocking with DraftKings. But more importantly, we got a promo code to make it even more advantageous for you. For the new customers, when you bet $5, you'll get 150 of them bonus bets instantly with the promo code MOATS. It's a beautiful concept. It's simple, baby. All right, get you a chance to, or get you an opportunity at least to potentially make some more wages and stuff like that, man. So it's a pretty cool concept, but at the same time, we also understand that you can get lost in the sauce. Might develop a gambling problem. If you live in New York, that is a number that you can text. But for everybody else, the digits to dial are 1-800-GAMBLER.
No, bravo. To be honest, I think Fields is essential for the team's future, hoping his passing can progress. If Russ was really QB1 for the future, I don't think he would be getting subbed out for that spark we need offensively.
I think you can put it in quotations as spark to make it a little bit more like sensational, but still doesn't change the fact that Russ's production through the air was just as much of a spark as Phil's 30-yard run. So like I said, it's just about how you want to spin it, how you want to emphasize one versus the other. I think both are very complimentary of the team, or complimentary for the team. I think from the organization's perspective, the division of labor via snap count kind of lets you know who they want out there versus who they don't want out there. Just when you look at one playing, was it 60 snaps and one playing 4 snaps? But I do think both of those guys, man, can help us out in a major way. I just think that we're in that weird space of trying to figure out who do we want to, kind of hitch our wagon to, so to speak, man. But we're still early in this process. Like with Fields, we unfortunately didn't get to see more of him. And with Russ, it's like where we're currently at is only a handful of games. So we're trying to make big decisions on a handful of information for both of these guys, while you still got games remaining and the story still is being written. Like you said, man, if we bottom out, don't make the postseason, who wants to sign Russ to $40 million? We run the table or get into this postseason and you win a playoff for 2 games, now it's way different convo. You go to a Super Bowl, it's like, whoa, bro. So that's the part where, like I said, where we're having this convo right now is just still fluid in terms of the situation.
I do kind of get what he means, though, especially if you're talking about re-signing Russ. Mm-hmm. And we're getting Fields in there for like 8, 9, 10 plays. Mm-hmm. It's like, do we feel like we have to bring in another Fields for Russ for the next like year or two? And then you got to question, man, like, why are we paying Russ then? Or like, how much faith do we really have in him being the guy long term? Because you're never having these conversations with Ben.
So were the 10 plays that were happening when Taysom Hill would come in for Drew Brees, was the convo, yo, do you even need Brees since you got Taysom Hill?
Oh, no. Listen, I'm not a fan of that stuff to begin with.
But that's how I look at it. I'm just like,
but
what changes?
No, here's what I'm saying though. Yeah. Maybe it lessens the contract you're offering to Russ though.
That's what we said. 40 though versus 60 versus 55.
Well, those numbers are insane
versus 45.
No,
we can't say they're insane. It's inflation. It's the market. The market is what the market is. We can't talk crazy and act like the market isn't that when that's what the market is. If we would all agree that, yeah, we like this quarterback versus the guy that made 60.
But I think we also, like you said, we got to see how it plays out because
the first 3 games, week, how people talked about him versus these past 2.
Well, last week might be an outlier because of the weather. We might have had more Fields packages because of the snow and the wind in the second half. Right. But if it becomes more and more of a trend where we're getting 8, 9, 10 plays from Fields, I think you might factor that in, depending on how Fields does and how Russ finishes off the season.
So, question for you then, and I'm sure in the chat as well. Why is it that if Arthur Smith is trying to utilize all the resources that he has for this offense to be more effective, is viewed as a negative on Russ. Whereas if you put Justin Fields and kept him out there with Russ and did the exact same concepts via, hey, you're Cordell Patterson now, nobody would be looking at it as a negative for Russ. But because Russ comes off the field and it's like, oh, hey, Fields, we want you right here, now we're putting it as a negative to Russ. I just don't understand that part.
I'm guessing part of it is because of his age and just his lack of ability compared to a Fields.
Okay.
Like, that's got to be part of it because he doesn't have as much dynamic playmaking in him like he used to.
From a coaching standpoint, what they're trying to do is just make that team play 11 on 11 for situational plays. But if you don't do the rotational part of it and you just say, hey, you do all of this, we've already seen how it's a little bit more of a challenge in certain areas to effectively run that. That's what we talked about with Baltimore, how long it took them with Lamar. It's like, yo, if you do this, you got to be able to do it to this level. Otherwise, it's not going to work. We've already seen with Russ's model where it does. So I think with Arthur Smith, he's just trying to still kind of best of both worlds, so to speak. But I don't look at that as like, oh, this is bad on this guy. Like, I just look at it like, yo, he's just trying to maximize. This is what you want from a coordinator, right? Or at least you would think.
Yeah. It's just you don't see this too often.
But this isn't a situation that is often. This is the Breeze and Taysom Hill situation. That's why I brought it up like that, specifically that situation. Because who else has two quarterbacks or two guys that we felt production for both, provide sparks for both, unorthodox in terms of how you would use them, but we don't look at the second dude and say, oh, yeah, he's the better pure quarterback than the starter. But in both offenses, they were used. Taysom Hill had a legit role in this offense, and it wasn't for 1 or 2. It was like multiple seasons down there. But I don't think no one ever talked bad about Breeze in that sense because of that. It was like, yo, you got a weapon. Use the weapon. Make that defense have to. If it's 15 plays, they got to account for that. Man, that's a great situation for us. I don't think we was, hey, Breeze sucks because of that, man. Breeze, bro. Breeze
I don't
can't
think
run.
anyone's saying Russ sucks. No. I think we're just wondering how does it affect how we view Russ going forward and contracts and stuff.
So when no one's saying it sucks, but it's viewed as a negative is what I'm saying because of what you just brought up, the contracts and how you moving forward, etc. All I'm saying is when Taysom Hill was doing it with Breeze, it really wasn't viewed as like a negative on him.
You don't see it with any of these other, like Breeze is the one example. But yeah, I mean, to your point, it is a unique scenario because Brady didn't have a guy like Taysom Hill behind him.
Ben didn't have a dude like this. Nobody had this.
I mean,
I'm talking late Ben.
I'm just saying though.
Nobody had this type of dude, bro.
You're not doing that with Ben. You're not doing that with Rodgers. You're not doing that with Manning, Brady.
We've never seen them in this situation with Arthur.
They shouldn't have been doing it with
so
Breeze.
We do not
I think they were doing it too much with Breeze.
We do not know how they would have handled that with Arthur Smith here at this stage of their career. Is all I'm saying. It's easy to sit here and say, "Oh, they would." Yeah, they didn't have those type of coaches. Those coaches got fired also, though. Did they not?
Who?
I'm talking about the Steelers coordinators that were here when Ben was at the end of it. They did not do what you said. Randy Fiegner, Matt Canada. Did both of them not get got? Not fired, just not retained.
Wow.
So
to begin with.
All I'm saying is, you bring it up them on the back end. I'm like, bro,
package or a dog's package out there isn't saving Matt Canada's job.
All
if anything,
I'm
I think
is
it's making it worse.
You don't think
you're taking Ben off the field.
I'm just saying you act like Arthur Smith wouldn't have eyed that and thought. All I'm saying is I don't put that past Arthur Smith. I know you brought him up. Like, I don't put that past him, though, if that was a situation. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however we want to look at it, that just wasn't the case. But both of them dudes that were here that did not do any of that type of stuff, both of them got gone. And we talked about how the offense was at times under both of them dudes. And it's with a lot of respect to both of them because I actually like them.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. So what are we getting at here?
I just...
Because now we're talking about Arthur Smith.
Because I'm saying as a whole, I don't feel like it needs to be detrimental to how people are viewing Russ because Arthur Smith is trying to maximize the personnel that he has to make sure that this offense is cooking. That's all. But we could agree to disagree.
Nah, I think it's something to think about. Yeah. Like if Arthur Smith and the team is liking what Fields is doing, given his age and where Russ is at in his career, and I don't. It's something to think about. If it continues going forward, and how much you pay Russ, and how much you're thinking about him seriously being your future, and it all depends on how the season plays out too.
Yeah.
Because if Fields gets the 8 or 9 plays and Russ is what was his stat line last week?
21 of 28 for 270 and a touch.
Yeah, we're winning games. Then okay, it doesn't really matter that much. But if Russ's plays like it's weird, it's messing up the game flow, and Fields is I don't know. It's an interesting situation. It's something we've never dealt with here in Pittsburgh. It's something that teams who have had guys, who have had like Hall of Fame guys, really haven't dealt with or have done throughout the course of NFL history.
The fact that we got both of them here at this particular portion of their careers, but at the same contract situation as well, it's like that's what makes this so different than like any of the normal, this is how you handle it.